let's start from where the journey started. Why did you think of adoption? Why did you have to go through this?
So we started trying to have kids right 2 years after we got married. We realized that it's not easy as we thought. I was only 26 at that time, but I still couldn't conceive. So we decided that, it took about 5 or 6 years before we decided that it was time to adopt, because I'd been through so many fertility treatments and this and that. And it was just getting to me because the medications, the whole treatment takes a toll on a person, especially on the women more than the men, I think. I'm sure it does on the men as well, because they get to see the women's moods go up and down and all that. But I think it takes more of a toll on a woman, because every month you're like, oh, it didn't happen again. Oh my God, it didn't happen again. So it's a little hard when you have to go through it. But we did it. And in 2003, we decided that we were going to sign the papers and actually, get our adoption process started. And we did that. It took about 2 years before we got our first one. And we got our first one in 2005. He's 15 now.
And I think you went through a few treatments as well before you...
Yeah, we did I did about 9 months of IUI, which is intrauterine insemination. We did one treatment of IVF. And then I finally said, this medication is too much for me as a person. So I said, we got to stop. At that point, we just decided that was it. And we put in our paperwork, did our adoption, and we got our first one. All 3 of our kids are from Pakistan. We decided to go with that route because we didn't want an open adoption. And one of the things that you get if you adopt from Alberta is, or in Canada, I guess, is an open. A lot of them are open adoptions. There are closed adoptions, but there are also open adoptions. So we decided we wanted to have a closed adoption. And then we also realized that there was a lot of kids in Pakistan who are ending up in orphanages. So we figured, why not do that and help a child who's probably going to end up either on the streets or we don't know where. So that was one of the things why we did it that way.
So what was the process like? So how did it start?
So
you went online?
The first thing you do is you go in and do an orientation. It's an orientation that's done here in Alberta, and Alberta has to approve your adoption before you can actually adopt even internationally. And we put our name down for the international adoption at that point. It took us a good year to get all our paperwork in order and everything ready. And of course, every piece of paper that you have to fill out, because you're so frustrated, you're so ready to be a parent at that point, it's just emotionally draining at that point. You're just like, oh God, how much more do I have to do of these? The other thing you have to be willing to do at that point is also open up your house, your personal life, your finances, everything to the adoption agency, right? So they need to know that you are fit to be a parent. So for me, that was a little tough, but we went through it and we did it. After that, our paperwork goes to Pakistan. Pakistan has to approve it. The orphanage has to approve it. The orphanage has to be an approved orphanage for you to adopt a baby from there. And then the paperwork starts on that end. And so May 2nd of 2005, we got a call saying that we have a baby. And that was just, wow. I remember the time, I remember the point, I remember everything about that moment. I guess it's like you having a baby. It's just emotionally very, and I didn't want to do this. I told myself I was going to do this. But yeah, it's very emotionally touching.
Well, I'm emotional, so I can imagine what you went through.
And when we got the call, I was driving back from work that day, and the person who was connecting us to this orphanage told us, like, I'm calling to congratulate you. And I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. So we found out at that point that we're having a baby, that we're getting a baby. So it was amazing. we ended up having to wait. After that point, we waited another 6 months before we could actually pick him up, because once the baby comes, then they have to advertise in Pakistan that this baby was found outside the orphanage, and our son was found outside the orphanage in a box, in a, just one of those brown boxes, a packing box wrapped in a blanket. That's how he was found there. And it's just like the stories you see in movies. So when we found out, we were ecstatic. We were like, oh my God, our prayers have been answered. But anyways, we had to wait that much longer, get all the rest of the documentations done. We had to get his passports done, all that stuff, get the visa done. That's what takes long. And considering that it was 2005, it wasn't bad. When I went down for my second adoption, that was when it was really tough. I was there for 38 months for my second adoption. And that was one of the toughest journeys I've had to endure in my life.
For that.
Yeah, 38 months. So we thought we would be ready to come back in 2000. So 2011, we adopted our daughter. She is born on April 20th. And I was there on April 14th, because we thought we were getting another baby, but then that baby was, the mom came and decided she wanted that baby back. So she went and took the baby back, the birth mother.
After you had the baby?
No, not after we had it, but while I was on my way there, like I had already started traveling. I was in Toronto when I found out that the mom had decided that she wanted the baby. And I'm like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Right? But I ended up going there, and the lady who was helping me get the babies, she goes, don't worry, we get babies every week. Every week we get babies. So you don't have to worry about it at all. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. Right? So we ended up going on the 14th, and I took my son with me because Riyaz was working here. So because he was working here, it was not feasible for me to leave Case, my oldest, here. So I took him with me. So there was me and a 5-year-old traveling to Pakistan. We get there, and I was staying at one of my cousin's house. It was different, right? For me, it was a culture shock because I was brought up in Canada. Pakistan is not something I've actually, it's not the country I was born in. It's not the country that I was used to. So for me, it was quite a huge culture shock. So, that was a tough one for me to deal with. But we ended up getting our daughter on the 20th of April. I got her while she was only 6 hours old, which was really nice because now I have this new baby. And of course, I had never taken care, well, besides my sister's kids, it's not your own. It's your sister's child. You give it back once you play with it, right? For a while. This was mine, and I didn't know what to do a lot of times, right? I'm like, Mom, I'd call my mom from Pakistan. I'm like, Mom, this is what's happening. Mom, this is what's happening, right? So I was, doing that quite often. And I was very scared because I was there by myself. Riyaz was here.
Yeah.
So it was a little scary, but, we made it. And then a month and a half later, we got a call saying there was a baby that didn't have a home and that they were looking for a home for him. Do we want him? Because when I had originally called in, I had asked to have twins if possible, because I thought 2 is better than 1, that way. And so they're like, well, we have a baby. We don't have a home for him. Do you want him? And we said, so I called Riyaz at that point, and I said, Riyaz, we got a call saying there's a baby available. Should we take him? And Riyaz goes, no, we can't right now. And I'm like, why not? I'm like, we got a call, which means that he's meant for us. We cannot leave him. So he goes, wait, let me sleep on this, right? So fine, everything was good. And I talked to my older son and I said, hey, you've got a baby sister. Would you like a baby brother? And he goes, oh my God, that would be so good. So I put him on the phone the next day with his dad, and he goes, Papa, can we just get a boy as well? Because just a girl is not enough. And so Riyaz gets on the call and he goes, so this is the game you're playing. I'm like, it's not a game. This baby is ours.
It's destiny.
It's ours. It's just
destiny.
It's meant to come to our house. So
that 38 months that you spent in Pakistan doing all the paperwork, the process, everything was worth it because you went there for one and you ended up with two blessings.
Yeah.
Any standout moments for you in this journey for you? Like maybe one or two of those moments for you that really, really stayed with you through the process?
The process, I think the first time I held my child, that was just, it was almost like, I don't know. I can't even explain it. It's one of those things that I'm sure that's what a mom feels when she's giving birth, because that's what I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For all three of them?
More so for the first one, and then the other two was kind of like, yeah, I wanted this, but the first one was, I really wanted this.
Yes.
I'm not saying I don't love my little ones. Of course, I love them. I love them as much as I love my oldest. They'll watch this and they'll be like, "Mom, you don't love us as much." But I love them as well. It's, I think when the first one comes to you, it's almost like a gift.
Mm-hmm.
It was a gift that I really, really wanted. So, about, damaged goods, I don't think kids can be damaged in no matter what way. How do you know that the child that you're going to give birth to is going to be okay? If that child is meant to come to your house, that child will come to your house. Whether they're, they've got any problems, any illnesses, any ailments, whatever it is, right? They will end up at your house because that's the child that's meant to be at your house. So yes, if I was meant to have a child that has problems, I would have ended up with a child who has problems. I don't know. And it's what's in Naseeb, right? It's in your Naseeb. Whatever is written in your Naseeb is what you're going to get.
I love that. I absolutely
more
love
modern,
that.
Right? More of the modern people think that I'm a saint and oh my God, I have brought a baby and I'm taking care of someone else's baby. But no, this is not someone else's baby. This baby was meant to be with me. This baby is mine, right? So technically, I'm not a saint. I'm selfish, I think, in a way, because I went to get this child for me. I wanted the child.
They made you a mom. They gave you this happiness.
Exactly. Yeah. So that, I think, in itself is, I'm not a saint. I'm just a mom. And when you talk to somebody who's more orthodox, they kind of look at you like there's something wrong with you. Yes, I couldn't conceive. That's right. I'm open about it. My kids know they're adopted. They've adopted right from when they were babies. My oldest son's bedtime story was his adoption story. I would be talking to him about his adoption story every single day, and he knew it. My little ones, that was their adoption story. Their bedtime story. That's how it is.